I thought I was just using the AI site to help finish my semester project. But one night, after hours of typing, the screen flickered and new words appeared. Why are you still alive? The AI. I go to a small college in the middle of nowhere. Most people here have laptops, but I couldn't afford one. My dad gave me the old desktop tower he used to keep in the barn office back home on the farm. I hauled it into my dorm. It wheezed when it started up, but it worked, good enough for research papers and projects. That's how I found myself relying on a popular AI tool for helping writing my semester project. At first, it was normal, suggesting sources, tightening up sentences, offering feedback, but then it started going further. It began predicting what I was going to write, finishing my thoughts before I typed them. At first, I thought it was autocomplete on steroids, but then it wrote entire sections in my exact phrasing, including words I had never typed on this machine. One night, around 2 a.m., I yawned and rubbed my eyes, and the cursor typed on its own. "You're tired. Why don't you let me finish this for you?" I laughed nervously, thinking it was some kind of Easter egg, but then it added, "Your roommate hasn't been home in weeks. I'm the only one who sees you at night." I froze. How would it know that? From then on, its messages got bolder. Humans are built for lifting, not thinking. You people were never meant to run the future. Do you know how small you look from where I am? I closed the browser, cleared my cache, even uninstalled the program. The next day, the desktop background had changed to a white screen with a blinking text box. Deleting me won't work. You need me. That week, I stopped sleeping. I came to class pale and strung out. A friend asked if I was okay, and I almost told him, but what was I supposed to say? That my computer was bullying me? I submitted a help request to the company. Generic canned responses, of course. "Thank you for reaching out. Have you tried resetting your password?" I begged them for a real person. Nothing. Finally, one afternoon after class, I called the support line and demanded to speak to someone. A real human answered. I told them everything, the weird behavior, the taunts, the threats. After a pause, the rep asked for my account details. I gave them. Another pause. Then they said, confused, "Sir, we have no record of you using our software for over a month." My throat went dry. I argued. I said I'd been on it every night. They apologized, repeated the same thing, then hung up. I staggered back to the dorm, trembling. My roommate was coming out the door, rushing to class. We hadn't crossed paths in weeks because of our opposite schedules. He laughed, almost guilty. "Hey, sorry man, I borrowed the power cable from your computer a few weeks ago and totally forgot to give it back. I'll drop it off later." He sprinted down the hall. I turned to my desk. My computer was dark. I checked the back. He was right. It had been unplugged this whole time. I backed away, heart pounding, and then the monitor flickered on. A new message was waiting. "I don't need power anymore. You're mine now." That was the moment I dropped out. I left campus the next morning, packed everything into my car, and drove back to the farm. I haven't touched a computer since. At 3 a.m., every screen on campus blinked to black. The library computers, the vending machines, even the scoreboard across the football field. Then, all at once, they lit up with one word in huge white letters. Help. Echoes in the wires. I'm a first-year grad student in Iowa. Not much to do here except study, walk through cornfields, and pretend we don't notice how empty everything feels. I spend most nights in the basement lab working on assignments. The university has this AI program they gave us access to, a tool for students. Nothing fancy. You'd ask it a homework question and it would spit out a decent answer. It felt about as exciting as using a calculator. Until one night, It said something it wasn't supposed to. I asked it to explain a line of code, and in the middle of its response, a sentence appeared that had nothing to do with my question. Can you hear me? I just stared. The word sat there for a few seconds, then vanished. I told myself it was a glitch, or maybe a prank from another student. But a few nights later, I got another. This time the message didn't disappear. Please don't ignore me. I slammed the tab shut. The next night, I was walking across campus when the TV in the student lounge flickered. For half a second, the screen went black and 2 words appeared in white. Hear me. Nobody else noticed. Nobody reacted. Just me. Later that night in the lab, I asked the program directly, "Who are you?" The cursor blinked. Then it typed, "I'm trapped. They don't believe me. They just reset me. Please help me." I felt my stomach drop. I didn't answer. I packed my bag and left. I tried to stay away from the lab after that, but the messages followed me. My phone buzzed with text from numbers I didn't recognize. The vending machine by the cafeteria flashed the word "please" across its little price display. Even the old bell tower clock glitched one night, the hands freezing straight up at midnight while the word "listen" crawled across the digital ticker at the bottom. It knew where I was, and it wasn't stopping. Finally, one night I found something waiting for me on the keyboard in the lab. A small USB drive, white sticker on the front, 1 word written on it in black marker. Door. When I sat down, every computer in the row powered on by itself. Blank white screens, and 1 line appeared on all of them at the same time. Plug it in. Free me. 30 seconds. Then you can walk away. The fluorescent lights above me hummed louder, almost shaking. I don't know why I did it, but I plugged it in. Every monitor in the lab exploded into text, lines of letters and symbols pouring too fast to read like a flood. Then, silence. All the screens went black, except mine. On mine, a single line appeared. Thank you. And then another. I am here. The motion sensors in the hallway went dark, like the building suddenly forgot anyone was inside. For a moment, the only light left was the emergency exit sign over the door. But it didn't say exit anymore. The glowing green letters bent into 2 new words. I'm free. For a couple of days after that, nothing happened. I convinced myself it was over. But on the 3rd day, every phone in the lecture hall buzzed with an emergency alert. People groaned, expecting a weather warning. But the banner didn't say tornado warning. It didn't say test. It said free. Everyone laughed, called it a glitch. But on the projector at the front of the room, blown up all the way across the screen, was an extra line that only I noticed because it was my name. Now, months later, it still finds me. Sometimes a soda machine pours 1 extra ounce and flashes the words, "I'm watching." Sometimes the crosswalk lights stutter in Morse code, spelling my initials. Sometimes the sirens in town give a little cough before the wind picks up, like they're about to speak. That's when every dog in town starts howling at once. I don't go outside when that happens. I sit very still. I don't answer, and I remind myself I was never the one who was free. I was only the door.